Good morning and welcome to the daily devotion from Stirling Baptist Church, where every day we are turning our focus toward God as members of our church bring us reflections on His goodness. For more information about Stirling Baptist Church, go to stirlingbaptist.org, and you're welcome to get in touch with us through our Facebook page or by emailing us at admin@stirlingbaptist.co.uk.
Good morning. My name's Rose Goodacre. I'm divorced and I live in Bridge of Allen. I've been part of Murray Place since I moved to Scotland with my ex in 1981. Many of you won't know me because I've never spoken from the front of the church, and there's a very good reason for that. I actually think that I was born anxious and melancholic. So what does a person like me do at a time like this? I know the words of Jesus in Matthew 6. Do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more important than clothes? Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? However, I've been a Christian for 50 years, and yet I'm anxious and fearful about many things, one of which is public speaking. Even with a totally uncritical audience like at Lifeway, I've found the experience of being at the front really nerve-wracking. So how has it come to this, to being willing to expose myself on YouTube and speak to anyone who might tune in? Partly it's come from gaining a bit more perspective about what matters and what doesn't, and partly because of my experience of God's provision over the years. I can look back and I can see how I've been able to cope with some serious anxieties and not just survive, but in some cases thrive. At New Year I was in the company of 3 other women, and we were talking about our careers, or in my case, lack of career. They had all known from the beginning what they wanted to do and gone on into those careers. I had never had a particular dream job, and so just hoped that at some time I'd be like my mum or my older sister, and I'd be a stay-at-home wife and mother with a passion for people. The plan A didn't happen, but the plan B has been something that I would never have picked, but maybe God did. I was a childminder for 20 years. I had a secure job at the university, and then most unlikely of all, I found an arena in which I could actually speak in front of a group. Oops. One of my friends in the church was a lady who had limited hearing, and I scribed for her during the services. She would have liked to be a better lip reader, but there were very few classes in Scotland because the only training courses were in London and Manchester. And then in 1994, by chance, I spotted an advert for the first Scottish lip reading training course. I got a place, and with lots of encouragement from a special friend in the church, I qualified and taught classes for 10 years alongside my other part-time jobs. Because of this, I discovered that I did have some creative talent, albeit a non-traditional one, and that I could hold it together for the benefit of the class despite the underlying anxiety. 10 years later, a whole lot of new anxieties came to the fore. My parents began to need support, and like many others, I had to reorganise things so that I could help my sisters with their care. The childminding and the lip reading jobs had to go, and I struggled to keep a handle on my admin job at the university while living 1 week every month in Oxford. My head was all over the place, and despite wanting to trust that God was in control, I just couldn't keep the panic down. I know that some Christians are a bit sceptical about mindfulness because of its association with Buddhism, but I had read about the Benedictine way of life and was keen to find out more about how slowing down and being still and aware could help. Not only that, I was getting desperate. The NHS 8-week course was incredibly helpful, and once the techniques had become more ingrained, I wanted to draw them into my prayer life. Recently I've started Brian Draper's book entitled Soulfulness, Deepening the Mindful Life. It's about using the breathing techniques, the stillness and the silence of mindfulness to tune into God with our souls. Here's a passage that's helped me recently. We have to make space for the soul to express itself. If we are too worried about what others think of us, and we're more concerned about pleasing or impressing others than finding a true, authentic expression of our own, then we will stifle its flow. We won't be so imaginative for fear of being shot down. We may not take the creative risk we need to, or try something new. This is a great danger for most of us individually, and the danger collectively is that we flatten each other out into pale versions of who we could really be. And I think this is what really prompted me to step out of my comfort zone and try something new at this time of lockdown. And here's Brian Draper's take on the benefit of mindful breathing. Whenever we begin a task, whenever we sit down to listen deeply to someone, or go on a journey, or contemplate our future, we can start by taking a deep breath. It's called inspiration.